Picture this. You're at the starting line of a marathon. The crowd is buzzing, the gun fires, and everyone takes off. Some runners explode forward, sprinting like lightning. They look unstoppable in the first kilometer, as if they've already won the race. But you know what happens next. Muscles tighten, lungs gasp, and within minutes, the sprinters fade. Meanwhile, those who pace themselves, steady, deliberate, in tune with their breathing and stride, they're the ones who last. They're the ones who cross the finish line strong. That right there is the hidden truth of success. It isn't just about speed, it's about rhythm. A rhythm you can sustain, not for a day, not for a week, but for years. And that brings us to today's theme, the rhythm of success, finding pace you can sustain. Welcome, my friends, to another episode of The Long Game. I'm Nathan, your host, and as always, I want to begin by saying thank you. Thank you for being here, for choosing to spend your time listening to this conversation. Thank you for leaving your comments, your reflections, your encouragement. I read them all, every single one, and I truly appreciate them, even if I can't always reply. Between the commitments of my regular work and the precious, demanding role of raising a little one, time doesn't always stretch as far as I wish it did. So forgive me if my responses are slower than my heart wants them to be. But know this, your words matter. They're heard, and they fuel me to keep creating, to keep sharing. Now, let's get into it. When we talk about success, the world loves to glamorize speed. We celebrate the overnight success, the startup that scales in 12 months, the athlete who rockets to stardom at a young age. We admire the viral, the instant, the fast. But what the highlight reel doesn't show us is the burnout, the collapse, the toll that sprinting endlessly takes. Think about it. Have you ever worked so hard, pushed relentlessly, that even after achieving something great, you felt empty? Maybe it was landing a promotion, finishing a huge project, or hitting a financial milestone. On the outside, people cheered for you. But on the inside, your body, your mind, maybe even your relationships, they were asking for a pause. That's the consequence of living out of rhythm. Rhythm is different from speed. Speed is about how fast you move. Rhythm is about how well you move in time with yourself. Rhythm recognizes that life is long, that success is not a single event, but a continuum, a story, unfolding over decades. Rhythm knows you need not just effort, but recovery. Not just intensity, but breath. Imagine a drummer in a jazz band. If he speeds up randomly, the song falls apart. If he drags too slow, the energy collapses. But if he finds the groove, if he hits that beat with consistency, the whole band, the guitar, the piano, the saxophone, even the audience, falls into flow. Everyone is lifted by that steady rhythm. That's what rhythm does in your life. When you find it, work aligns, relationships align, even your health and creativity start to dance in time. But here's the challenge. Society doesn't reward rhythm. Society rewards spectacle. It rewards the person who looks busiest, answers fastest, ships projects in record time. It rewards the sprinter, even if that sprinter collapses later. And so we're tempted to sprint too, to push beyond what's sustainable, hoping applause will cover the fatigue. But applause doesn't heal exhaustion. Likes and shares don't restore sleep. Recognition doesn't prevent breakdown. What does? Rhythm. A pace you can sustain. A cadence that allows for forward motion, but also for rest, renewal, reflection. Think of success not as a finish line, but as music. The question is, are you playing a song that you can keep playing? Are you rushing through notes just to get to the end, or are you creating something you can enjoy for years? The great investors like Warren Buffett often say, it's not about timing the market, but time in the market. In other words, it's not about quick moves, it's about longevity. Compounding only works when you stay in the game. And you stay in the game only if your rhythm allows you to. The same principle applies not just to money, but to health, to learning, to relationships, to every area of life. In this first part of our journey, we'll explore why rhythm is the foundation of true, lasting success. We'll peel back the layers of why so many chase speed instead of rhythm, and what it costs them. And we'll begin uncovering what it actually feels like to live in rhythm, the signs, the sensations, the difference it makes. Because at the end of the day, the real victory is not found in sprinting past others for a moment, but in walking, running, living in a way that you can continue joyfully, powerfully, sustainably for the rest of your life. This, my friends, is the rhythm of success. And in this first part, let's start by asking, why is it so hard for us to honor rhythm in the first place? Why are we so addicted to speed when it so often leads us to burnout? Let's dive in.
Why is it so hard to honor rhythm? The truth is, our culture has conditioned us to equate movement with progress, and faster movement with better progress. From childhood, we're rewarded for being ahead. The student who reads early, the athlete who runs fastest, the employee who climbs the ladder before 30, they're praised as exceptional. Society doesn't often celebrate the steady learner, the late bloomer, the one who grows slowly but steadily. And so the message we absorb is clear: faster equals better. But life doesn't work like that. Think of nature. A tree doesn't rush its growth. It doesn't stretch all its branches in a single season. It follows rhythm, cycles of spring, summer, autumn, winter. Growth, harvest, shedding, rest. If it tried to grow at full speed all year round, it would exhaust itself and collapse. Yet somehow we humans think we're above rhythm, that we can hustle endlessly without consequence. And so many of us live like sprinters in a marathon. We push, we grind, we sacrifice sleep, we eat on the go, we work weekends, and for a while, it feels powerful. The results come quickly, the rewards pile up, people notice. But then comes the hidden bill: chronic fatigue, loss of creativity, broken health, strained relationships. The rhythm we ignored comes back to collect its debt. I've seen this story over and over. A startup founder who worked 100-hour weeks, raised millions, scaled his company at lightning pace, only to burn out so hard that he had to step down. An athlete who trained relentlessly, skipping recovery days, pushing past pain, only to face injuries that ended their career. A professional who rose fast in their company but neglected family dinners and friendships, only to look back years later with regret. Speed gave them applause, but rhythm could have given them longevity. Let's turn the lens on ourselves for a moment. Ask yourself, what's the rhythm you're living right now? Do you wake up and immediately check messages, racing to catch up before the day even starts? Do you move from task to task, meeting to meeting without breath? Do you feel guilty if you pause, as if rest equals laziness? If so, you're not alone. It's a common trap. But here's the paradox. When you live at an unsustainable pace, you don't actually achieve more. You might output more in the short term, but your quality drops, your clarity suffers, and eventually your capacity collapses. You end up needing long breaks, or worse, life forces those breaks on you through illness or breakdown. But when you live in rhythm, everything changes. Your work feels less like force and more like flow. You still move forward, but it's steady, grounded, purposeful. You recover as you go, which means you don't collapse later. And because you're consistent, compounding kicks in. Just as money compounds when you invest steadily, effort compounds when you show up steadily. Rhythm, then, is the mechanism of compounding across your entire life. Let me give you an example. Imagine two writers. One writes in manic bursts, 20 pages in a day, then nothing for weeks. The other writes 2 pages every single day. At the end of a year, the first might have a scattered draft of 200 pages. The second, over 700 pages, consistent, steady, finished. That's the rhythm difference. Or think of exercise. Many people start with a New Year's resolution, hitting the gym 5 times a week, crushing themselves for 3 weeks, then quitting because it's too much. Meanwhile, someone else decides, I'll just walk 30 minutes a day. It seems small, even unimpressive. But a year later, they're healthier, stronger, and still moving. Again, rhythm beats intensity because rhythm sustains. Now, let's bring this back to success. What if success is less about intensity and more about sustainability? What if the real winners in life are not those who sprint hardest, but those who find their rhythm and stay with it for decades? Think about Warren Buffett again. He's not celebrated for one explosive year. He's celebrated because he's been compounding for over 60 years. Or think about artists like Yo-Yo Ma, who have been performing and creating for decades, not because they sprinted, but because they found a rhythm they could live inside of. Rhythm is not glamorous. Rhythm is not dramatic. Rhythm is not viral. But rhythm is undefeated. The question then is, how do we actually find our rhythm? First, you need awareness. You have to notice when you're sprinting, when you're forcing, when you're out of breath. Your body tells you. Your mood tells you. The problem is we've learned to ignore those signals. We think exhaustion is normal, that stress is proof of productivity. But exhaustion is not a badge of honor. It's a signal that you're out of rhythm. Second, you need alignment. Rhythm comes when your actions match your values. If you're running fast towards something you don't truly care about, no pace will feel sustainable. But if you're aligned, even effort feels lighter. A musician who loves music can practice for hours without burnout because it's in rhythm with their soul. Third, you need boundaries. Rhythm requires space, moments of rest, reflection, renewal. Without boundaries, the world will consume all your time. You need to protect your mornings, your evenings, your weekends, your sleep. Those aren't luxuries. They're the drumbeat that keep the song alive. And finally, you need patience. Rhythm doesn't pay off instantly. The results of rhythm show up years later, but when they show up, they're undeniable. That's why so many people miss it. They're seduced by the sprint, by the quick win. Rhythm is slower, but it's surer. So in this second part, we've explored why rhythm is difficult to honor, why speed seduces us, and why ignoring rhythm costs us everything. We've seen how rhythm creates compounding, how it aligns us with our values, and how it's the only way to last. In the next part, we'll go deeper into the how. How do you actually craft a rhythm for your life? What practical steps can you take to shift from sprinting to sustaining? And how do you protect your rhythm when the world keeps pulling you into chaos? Stay with me, because the rhythm of success is waiting to be tuned in your life.
So now that we understand why rhythm matters more than speed, let's talk about the practical side. Because knowing the theory isn't enough. We need to feel it, live it, embody it. The challenge is this: the modern world is designed to pull us out of rhythm. Notifications buzz at all hours. Deadlines press in from every direction. People around us brag about how busy they are. And the pressure to do more, faster, never seems to stop. If we don't consciously choose our rhythm, the world will choose one for us. And trust me, the world's rhythm is chaos. So, how do we begin to craft a rhythm of success that we can sustain? The first step is to set anchors. Think of anchors as non-negotiable beats in your day. Just like a drummer keeps time with their foot, you need a few habits that set your baseline. These don't have to be grand or complex. It might be as simple as waking up at the same time each day, taking a morning walk, journaling for 10 minutes, or having dinner with your family. These anchors create stability, and stability is the soil where rhythm grows. Next comes energy management. Most of us plan our days by tasks, but rarely by energy. We fill calendars with meetings, deadlines, errands, without asking when we'll actually have the focus or strength to handle them. Rhythm means noticing your natural energy cycles. Maybe you're sharpest in the morning, so that's when you do creative work. Maybe afternoons are sluggish, so you use them for lighter tasks. By aligning work with energy, you move in flow instead of in friction. Then there's restoration. Rhythm isn't just about the notes you play. It's also about the silence between them. In music, rests are just as important as sounds. In life, rest is just as important as work. But too often we treat rest as optional, as something we earn only after exhaustion. That's backward. Rest is fuel. Without it, your rhythm falters. So schedule breaks. Protect your sleep. Create space for stillness, reflection, even boredom. That's where ideas incubate and resilience builds. Another key piece is sequencing. Have you noticed how some people seem to jump from one thing to the next without falling apart, while others get overwhelmed? The difference is sequencing. Rhythm is about ordering your steps so they build on each other. For example, exercising in the morning gives you energy for the day. Reading at night calms your mind for sleep. Doing deep work before emails prevents distraction. The sequence matters. Get the sequence right, and suddenly your life feels smoother, even if the workload hasn't changed. And here's something often overlooked. Rhythm is deeply personal. Your rhythm may not look like mine. Some people thrive on early mornings, others do their best work at midnight. Some love routine, others need variety. Some can push harder physically, others need gentler cycles. The key is not to copy someone else's pace, but to discover your own. How do you discover it? By experimentation. Try different cadences. Track your energy. Notice when you feel alive versus when you feel drained. Pay attention when your creativity spikes, when your patience thins, when your body wants to move or rest. Over time, patterns emerge. That's your rhythm revealing itself. Let's also talk about boundaries with the outside world. Because no matter how carefully you design your rhythm, other people will challenge it. Bosses will demand more, clients will want things faster, friends may pull you into distractions. If you don't defend your rhythm, it will be stolen. This doesn't mean being rigid or selfish. It means being clear about what you can sustain. It means saying no to things that break your cadence, even if they sound exciting in the moment. Think of professional athletes. They're not just disciplined in training. They're disciplined in rest, in diet, in social life. They don't let just anything disrupt their rhythm because they know their performance depends on it. If they can say no for the sake of a race, surely we can say no for the sake of our life's marathon. Another powerful tool is seasons. Remember how nature moves in cycles? We can too.
You don't need to move at the same intensity all year. You can have seasons of push, where you sprint for a project, launch, or event, followed by seasons of recovery. The mistake is trying to sprint through every season. That's like planting crops without ever letting the soil rest. Eventually, it depletes. Seasons allow renewal. They keep your rhythm alive. Now, let's zoom out to the long game. Imagine your life not as a straight line, but as a song. Some songs are chaotic, noisy, impossible to follow. Others have a beat so strong, so steady, that you can't help but nod along. Which song are you writing with your life? The truth is, finding your rhythm is not just about productivity. It's about joy. It's about health. It's about being fully alive in the process of becoming successful, not just at the destination. Because what's the point of reaching the finish line if you're too broken to enjoy it? So here's the invitation. Step back. Listen. Where is your life too fast? Where is it too slow? Where are you out of sync? And where does it feel effortless, like music flowing? Those are the clues to your rhythm. If you take nothing else from this episode, take this. Success is not about how hard you push in a single moment, but about the pace you can sustain across a lifetime. Find your rhythm, and success becomes less of a struggle, more of a song. And that's what this whole conversation has been leading to. The realization that the rhythm of success is not something the world hands you. It's something you compose, beat by beat, choice by choice, day by day. So the final question I leave you with is this. What rhythm will you write into your life? Because the rhythm you choose will write the story of your success.